Hey everyone, it's Echo here. Welcome to the channel where we dive deep into stories inspired by real people, real drama, and sometimes real heartbreak. Today's post is one that hit me in the gut, and I think it might for you too. We're talking about friendship, trust, the complicated dance between celebrating someone and accidentally stepping on their pride. This post is titled, Am I the A-hole for telling my best friend I'm proud of her? And what starts as a beautiful gesture quickly unravels into cold shoulders, judgmental stares, and a painful question. Was it all one-sided? So settle in, listen closely, and let's unpack the pain of dealing with people who might not be the friends we thought they were.
Am I the a-hole for telling my best friend I'm proud of her? I, 25F, live in a cozy two-bedroom apartment in London that once belonged to my late uncle. It's nothing fancy, but it's always been my little safe haven. During university, I became close with someone I'll call Mary, 27F. Mary's background was rough. I won't go into all the details, but let's just say her home life was the kind that leaves scars. Over the years, I made it clear, if you ever need me, I'm here, no questions asked. So after we graduated, when I asked her to move in with me, rent-free, it felt like the most natural thing in the world. She tried to pay, but I knew she was buried in uni debt and just starting out. I told her to use her money to get free, not pay rent. We lived together in harmony. No petty fights, no mess wars, no silent battles over the TV remote. She was like the sister I never had. Fast forward to this week, Mary finally cleared her debt, landed a killer promotion, and passed her driving test, all in the same month. It was a glow-up trifecta, and I was so damn proud of her. So we celebrated. Fancy restaurant, big night out, Mary, me, some of her colleagues, and two of our mutual uni friends. Somewhere between the wine and the dessert, I handed Mary a card. Inside was a heartfelt note about how proud I was of her and some cash to help her get her first car. She teared up, we hugged. It was emotional. I told her how inspiring she was, how far she'd come, how she'd proved her abusive dad wrong. That's when everything flipped. Mary pulled away, face suddenly cold, and said quietly, "Please don't do that. You know I hate when you do that." I blinked. What? She'd never said that before. Ever. I apologized immediately and said I didn't realize I'd upset her. She just scoffed and rolled her eyes. Her work friends were watching, and not kindly. One was literally shaking her head at me like I'd just kicked a puppy. The rest of the evening, ice cold. Mary barely looked at me. Her colleagues acted like I didn't exist. When we left, no one said goodbye. Back home, I tried again. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cross the line." She shrugged. "I'm tired. We'll talk tomorrow." And now I'm spiraling. What did I do wrong? I've replayed every conversation a dozen times. I never thought encouraging someone could come off as belittling, but apparently that's how it landed, with her and her entire work crew. Her coworkers later messaged me saying I was out of line for saying those things, that I belittled her by talking about her past, that my praise was really just a way to make her success about me. I'm gutted. Did I really screw this up that badly? Update. The truth unravels all in one day. Hi again. I wasn't sure how to update this, so I just typed everything into Notepad as it happened. And wow, did a lot happen. Every single one of these updates unfolded within the same day. I originally came here confused, worried I'd crossed a line with someone I love like family. What I ended up discovering left me absolutely shattered. Here is everything with rough timestamps to show how quickly things spiraled. Update 1, 6:30 a.m. It doesn't matter? After staying up all night feeling sick with guilt and anxiety, I finally heard Mary in the kitchen. I was emotionally wrecked, barely holding it together. But when I walked in, she acted totally normal, chatting about work drama like nothing ever happened. I apologized again. She looked genuinely confused and asked, "Why are you sorry?" I reminded her of last night, how upset she seemed, how she ignored me the rest of the night. She laughed and said, "It doesn't matter, don't worry about it." Like I hadn't been spiraling for 12 hours thinking our friendship was over. I asked if the money or my words made her feel inferior. She said, "Nope, we're cool." Then she brushed it off, saying her coworkers must have misunderstood and that I was taking things too seriously. Meanwhile, I had coworkers of hers texting me all night, accusing me of being controlling and belittling. I told her. She shrugged and said, "I'll talk to them." I was still in shock. Nothing felt resolved. I was glad she wasn't angry, but I was also very confused. Something still felt wrong. Was still stunned. Nothing felt resolved. I was glad she wasn't mad, but also so confused. Something still felt off. Update 2, 10 a.m. A friend sees it too. One of our mutual uni friends, let's call her Claire, called to check in. She'd been at the dinner last night and said she'd never seen Mary snap at me like that. I told her everything and she was just as confused, especially since she had also given Mary a gift and said similar congratulatory things. We decided it was time to really talk to Mary. Claire and another friend planned to come over later. Meanwhile, the messages from Mary's coworkers kept coming. One even said I was trying to sweep this under the rug. Sweep what? I considered blocking them. My anxiety was through the roof. Update 4 p.m. The lies come crashing down. This is the part I still can't wrap my head around. Claire knows one of Mary's co-workers, let's call her Jane, and invited her over to clear things up. Jane showed up furious. I could barely breathe when I saw her expression. We sat down, and I told Jane that Mary and I had talked, that she said things were fine. Jane laughed. Don't try that shit with me. You can't pretend after being exposed. Exposed? For what? Jane then accused me of regularly abusing and intimidating Mary, saying I gaslight her into staying silent and fake smiling in public. She pulled out her phone and showed us messages from Mary. I read them and broke. Mary told her I'd locked her in her room during a meltdown because I didn't want her hanging out with new friends, that I was extorting her for rent, that I'd canceled her 21st birthday, that I isolated her from everyone. The thing is, I threw her that 21st birthday party, a massive Gatsby-themed night. Claire and our other friend were there. I spent over $500 to make it happen. We cross-checked everything. I even showed my bank statements. Mary never paid me a penny in rent, only half the bills. Jane went quiet. The confusion spread across all of our faces. Turns out, Mary told her entire workplace this alternate reality where I'm a monster who uses kindness as control. That the things I said at dinner were emotional manipulation. No wonder they all glared at me. I was devastated. I sobbed for hours. Claire had to calm me down. Even now, I can't believe someone I loved like a sister has been poisoning people against me behind my back. Where I stand now? Jane left quietly, clearly shaken. Claire and my other friend are staying with me until Mary gets home. We're all planning to confront her, together. I don't know why Mary did this. What she gains from painting me as her abuser. Maybe she wanted to impress her coworkers. Maybe she needed a villain. I don't know. What I do know is this. I never hurt her. I never asked for anything in return. I loved her, protected her, gave her a home when she had none. And now I feel like I've been living with a stranger. I'm not looking for sympathy, just closure. Maybe some insight, maybe a warning to others. Sometimes the people you think you die for are quietly burying the knife. Final update, 10:15 p.m. Mary is no longer living in the flat. I asked her to move out. After everything that's come to light, I just couldn't share space with someone who threw away years of friendship in exchange for sympathy points from her colleagues, and I still can't fully understand why she did it. When she got home and saw the three of us, me, Claire, and our other friend, in the living room, she cheerfully offered to make popcorn. Claire immediately told her to sit down. Mary looked confused, but listened. I couldn't even look at her. Claire handled most of the talking. Claire explained that Jane had visited earlier and accused me of being abusive and manipulative. She asked Mary directly why she would say such things. Mary tried to play it off as a miscommunication, blaming Jane for twisting her words, but Claire didn't let her dodge it. She started going through specific claims from Mary's texts, false accusations, events that never happened, blatant character assassination. Mary eventually broke down. She started crying, insisting she never meant for it to get this far. She said she loved me and it was just a stupid story that spiraled. She begged me to forgive her, but I couldn't. I was too tired, too hurt, and honestly still in shock. I looked her in the eye and told her she had 1 week to move out. That's when she panicked. She started pleading, saying I didn't work with her colleagues, so it shouldn't matter. I told her I didn't care who heard the lies. It was the betrayal itself. I asked her straight up, do you just make things up about everyone? Was anything you told me ever real? She went silent. I brought up her stories about her abusive father and her being homeless at 16. I told her to call her mom and let me speak to her. She begged me not to. Claire caught on and asked if the stories we were told about her dad were true. That's when Mary cracked. She admitted she had embellished some of it. That was it. I lost it. What kind of person fabricates that level of trauma? For sympathy? For attention? I couldn't take it. Things devolved into shouting as we realized her entire tragic backstory was just fiction. After she left the room, I called her mother myself to confirm. Her mom was honest and kind, and she cleared everything up. No abuse, no homelessness, no estrangement. Her dad moved to Australia to pursue a career. That's all. Mary just didn't like flying. Turns out the person I thought was my best friend for 7 years was a skilled manipulator. This will be my last update. I initially came here seeking advice because I thought I'd made a mistake. But it turns out the friendship itself was a lie. I don't care what Mary does next. I just want peace and healing. I will be booking therapy because I need help processing this. Thank you to everyone who offered insight and support. I wish I had a happier ending to share, but at least now I can move forward. Final reflection. I wasn't planning on writing anymore, but the response to this post absolutely exploded overnight, and I felt like I owed some kind of closure. Reading through the kind, empathetic messages in my inbox honestly brought me to tears. Thank you for every single comment, message, and story shared with me. It's been comforting beyond words. Here's how things wrapped up. Mary moved out that Saturday with the help of her mother. The days leading up to it, she kept trying to talk to me, but I told her I needed space. I didn't engage. When her mom arrived, I finally got the chance to confirm everything I needed to hear. Mary's history of abuse and homelessness was completely fabricated. Her parents simply divorced. No violence, no abandonment. Her dad loved her and had even invited her to visit Australia numerous times. She just never went. On moving day, Mary knocked on my door. I answered because, despite everything, I still needed closure. She asked if I wanted the money back I'd given her for her car. I told her no and suggested she use it for therapy. She tried to hug me goodbye, but I kept her at arm's length. I told her very clearly that this would be the last time we'd ever speak. She left crying, and I was left with a flat that suddenly felt enormous. The loneliness hit me harder than I expected. You don't realize how much space someone takes up in your life until they're gone. For days, I still expected to see her in the kitchen or hear her laughter from the next room. I started therapy last week. It went surprisingly well. My therapist reassured me that Mary's lies were never my fault and that the manipulation had nothing to do with anything I'd done. There was one final piece of the puzzle I didn't expect. I met Jane for coffee. She apologized and we talked things through. Turns out, Mary had used a colleague's traumatic experience as a kind of template for her own story, claiming her abuse to form a connection with him. When he found out the truth, he cut ties immediately. Most of her coworkers are keeping their distance now, worried she might turn on them next. As for me, I've been trying to adjust. Claire has stayed with me for a while, which has helped with the silence and the emptiness. The support from this community has meant more than you know. I was lost and confused when I first posted, but your kindness helped carry me through the most painful experience of my life. I'm not sure what comes next, but I know this. I deserve better. We all do. Thank you for everything.
Whew, that one stings a bit, doesn't it? It's hard when something done from a place of love is taken as a slight. And it's even harder when the people around us twist our kindness into something selfish. How would you handle this kind of betrayal? Have any of you ever experienced something like this, where someone you trusted turned out to be someone you least expected? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every one of them, and I'd love to hear your stories. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss our next deep dive. Until next time, this is Echo signing off.